all of these questions are asking you to do the same thing, which is read an argument in logical reasoning. As always, you have to try to understand it, right? That's rule number one in the demon. You really have no business going into the question or the answer choices until you understand the argument on your own terms, right? That's going to slow a lot of you down at first, but it's going to speed you up in the long run. Because if you can read and understand this argument like no other, anyone can ask you questions about it and you understand it and you understand what's wrong with it, then you're ready for the discussion that will follow. When you encounter an argument, you want to read it, you want to understand it, and then decide whether the evidence proves the conclusion. If it does, then it's a valid argument, it's a good argument, and then you're ready to go into the question, right? And if it says, which one of the following arguments is most similar in its flawed reasoning to the argument above, well, now you know that you missed something, right? Like, you read the argument, you tried to understand it, you tried to decide whether it was a good or bad argument, and then you realize you thought it was good. And then the test is telling you that it's bad. So right there, you need to stop and you need to go back and you need to figure out why the argument is flawed, right? Alternative scenario. You read the argument, you understand it, you decide that it's flawed, and the test kind of confirms that by saying which one of the following arguments is most similar in its flawed reasoning to the argument above. Now you're going into the answer choices and you're looking for another answer choice that's going to be almost always on a different topic. The topic changes, but you're looking for an argument that exhibits or makes the same mistake. That's all you're looking for, right? And so it's crucial that you figure out what the author did, how the author messed up. Because if you can get your mind focused on that, that is going to lead you to the correct answer. Now, in a parallel reasoning question, in which case our original argument is not necessarily flawed, and let's assume for a second that it's valid, well, in that case, you are looking for an argument that's using the same kind of reasoning, which means the way in which the author proved her conclusion is going to be the same way in which the correct answer is going to prove its conclusion. To give you an example, if I said to you, if I eat olives, then I'm gonna cry. Okay, you guys cool with that? That's not actually true, but just bear with me here. So if I eat olives, then I'm gonna cry, right? But I'm not capable of crying. It's just, I cannot cry. Well, if you know those two things, if you know that if I eat olives, then I'm definitely going to cry, and you know that I'm not capable of crying, then you can safely conclude that I will never eat olives. It's just not possible for me in this universe where if I eat olives, I will cry, and I am not capable of crying. So my argument might be, if I eat olives, then I'm going to cry. I can't cry. That's just not possible. Therefore, I'm never going to eat olives, or it's not possible for me to eat olives. It's just never going to happen. That argument had two premises, right? One was an if-then statement. If I eat olives, I'm going to cry. There was another premise that was basically like, hey, I can't cry. And then there was a conclusion that was drawn on the basis of those two premises. If that's the argument you're given, then the correct answer is going to do something similar. It's almost certainly going to use some sort of if-then statement. It's then going to have a non-if-then statement that says, hey, you can't cry, but it's going to be something else, some other topic. And then the conclusion is also going to be a non-if-then statement just saying, hey, you're not going to eat olives or whatever, right? So it's going to have a very similar structure. That's what we're looking for in parallel reasoning. The topic is going to be different, but the underlying structure of the argument, the way the author went about proving her conclusion, is going to be the same.